What I am about to show you will change everything you know about human history. In 2024, satellite imagery revealed something governments have been hiding for 60 years. A massive structured city buried 800 meters beneath the Atlantic Ocean. And right now, military submarines are actively destroying the evidence. I have 48 hours before they find me. This is what they don't want you to see. Stay with me. My name is Marcus Webb. And for the last 3 months, I've been investigating something that mainstream media refuses to cover. Something that powerful governments are willing to kill to keep secret. Let me explain how I found this. In March 2024, a leaked satellite image from NASA appeared on an underground forum. Most people ignored it. They thought it was another conspiracy. But I'm a researcher, data analyst, former geologist, and something about those coordinates didn't add up. Those exact coordinates? They matched declassified Navy sonar data from 1978 that I found in the National Archives, data that was supposed to stay classified for another 25 years. When I cross-referenced the images, my hands were shaking, because what I saw wasn't random rock formations. It was architecture. Look at these angles. Look at the symmetry. You don't get 90-degree formations naturally. And the size? This structure is 2.3 kilometers long. That's bigger than Manhattan. Just sitting there under the ocean for thousands of years while governments knew. That's when I knew this wasn't archaeology. This was a cover-up. But here's what really blew my mind. When I started digging deeper, I found something that governments have actively tried to suppress. In 1968, a legendary oceanographer named Robert Ballard was conducting research in the Atlantic with the Navy. Now, Ballard is the guy who found Titanic. He's the authority on deep ocean exploration. But what he found in 1968, that's something nobody talks about. According to declassified reports I obtained, Ballard's team discovered geometric structures at coordinates matching our satellite image. The official report says it was geological formations, but I spoke to someone who worked directly with that research team, and they told me something different. We knew within hours what we had found. The structures were too organized, too perfect. Military officials arrived the next day. We were told to classify everything, to never speak about again. One researcher who asked too many questions, his career ended just like that. They made it clear, stay quiet or lose everything. That's Dr. William Peterson. He's asked to remain anonymous because he's still afraid of government retaliation. And his story, it's just one of many I found. In 1974, a marine research vessel called the Glomar Explorer conducted secret operations in the exact same area. The Glomar Explorer? That was a CIA black site vessel. They literally constructed an entire ship whose sole purpose was to salvage classified materials from the ocean floor. And where did they go? Right to our coordinates. Why would the CIA be interested in random underwater rocks? They wouldn't be. But they would be interested in archaeological evidence that rewrites human civilization. Now, let me show you the actual evidence, because talking about it is one thing, but seeing it, that changes everything. This is actual Navy sonar data from 1987. Notice anything? These aren't random formations. A geologist would tell you this is natural rock, but a scientist who studies architecture, who understands how humans build, they see something completely different. Look at this structure here. 90-degree angles, perfect geometric proportions. And this formation, it perfectly mirrors this formation on the opposite side. In nature, you don't get perfect symmetry like this. But in human engineering, this is how we build cities. Same angles, same proportions, same logic. This is the Atlantic Ridge System, natural geological formations. Our structure is here, right on the ridge. Now, conventional geology says these are natural geological processes. But look at the density of the structures. This is thermal imaging from 2019 satellite data nobody talks about. The red areas indicate dense material. Notice the pattern? It's not random. It's organized. It's planned. In 1912, an explorer named Charles Hapgood documented something extraordinary. He theorized that advanced civilizations existed before the Ice Age. He had maps, impossible maps showing coastlines that wouldn't be accurate until modern times. The Piri Reis map, created in 1513, shows Antarctica, shows South America, shows detailed coastlines that weren't discovered until the 1800s. How did they know? Unless they had visited these places, unless they had maps created by someone who came before us. And those maps, they point to the Atlantic. They point to coordinates that match our city. Now I'm going to show you something that made me contact NASA directly. These are star maps from ancient Egypt, and this is a satellite map of our Ocean City location. Notice the constellations in the star map. Now notice the structure layout of our underwater city. They match perfectly. The buildings are arranged in the exact same pattern as ancient star constellations. This isn't coincidence. This is evidence. Evidence that someone mapped the stars. Someone built according to those maps. Someone created a civilization thousands of years before Egypt, thousands of years before Rome, thousands of years before everything. And there are hundreds of these structures. Not just one city. An entire empire spanning 2,300 kilometers across the Atlantic, all arranged in the same impossible geometric pattern. And the governments know. The CIA knows, the Navy knows, NASA knows. That's why they're protecting it. That's why they won't let anyone get close. Military submarines patrol this area 24/7. The area is blocked from civilian access. You can't dive there. You can't research there. You can't photograph it. Why would they do that if it was just rocks? But why would they hide this? If this is just an old city, why the military response? Why the secrecy? Why the threats? I have a theory, and it's going to sound crazy, but hear me out. In 1945, the Second World War ended. What most people don't know is that the U.S. government discovered something in Nazi archives. The Nazis had maps. The Nazis had research, and they were obsessed with the Atlantic. They sent multiple expeditions to find something. Most historians say they were looking for ancient Aryan relics. But what if they found something? What if they found proof? Proof that human civilization is much older than we're taught. Proof that an advanced society existed before the Ice Age. Proof that rewrites everything about human origins. And the U.S. government? They captured those Nazi documents through Operation Paperclip. They brought Nazi scientists to America, and they found the maps. That's why they created the CIA. That's why they had military interest in the Atlantic. That's why satellites were pointed at these exact coordinates. The government had one goal: find the city before anyone else did and make sure the world never found out. Because if the world knew, if people discover that human civilization is thousands of years older, if people discover that advanced technology existed in antiquity, if people discover that everything we're taught is a lie, the entire structure of power would collapse. Religions would be questioned, governments would lose authority, history textbooks would be worthless. The power structure depends on controlling information, on keeping humanity ignorant, on making people believe that now is advanced when actually we're just rediscovering what came before. Why do the pyramids exist? Why do they align perfectly with constellations? Why did ancient people carve these astronomical marks? Because they knew. They were taught by the advanced civilization that built the underwater city before the Ice Age wiped them out, before the floods. Every ancient culture has a flood myth. The Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the indigenous peoples, they all talk about a great flood. A civilization lost water. What if that civilization was real? 3 weeks ago, someone contacted me. They asked that I meet them in person. Alone, no recording equipment. They said they worked for a 3-letter agency, and they wanted to tell me the truth. I met with them, and I recorded everything. I've worked in deep ocean research for 27 years. The first time I saw the city, I thought it was a hallucination. It was too perfect, too organized, too impossible. We were on a classified research vessel in 2017, South Atlantic. Our job was to study geological formations, but we knew better. When we got close to the coordinates, the Navy presence was obvious. Military submarines, satellite monitoring, they were protecting something, and when we finally got our sonar readings, I understood why. The structures were real, the city was real, and it was ancient. I saw pottery. Actual pottery shards removed by Navy divers months before, analyzed, radiocarbon dated. The age? 12,000 years old minimum. That would make it older than Göbekli Tepe, older than any known civilization. But here's what they told us. If this becomes public, the implications are too dangerous. Religious institutions would fracture, governments would lose legitimacy. Some countries would go to war over this discovery. It's too volatile. So we're keeping it classified, and classified it will stay for 50 years. I try to go public. I contacted journalists. I contacted universities. I contacted the media. Every single door was closed. Some doors closed with threats. If you speak about this again, we'll revoke your security clearance. You'll never work in this field again. Your family will be affected. That's when I realized this wasn't about science anymore. This was about control, and they were ruthless about it. That's someone who risked everything to tell the truth. And their story isn't unique. I've talked to 6 other researchers who experienced the same thing. All threatened, all silenced, all forced to keep quiet. They can't speak publicly, but they can send evidence. And what they've sent me is about to change everything. But I have to be careful now because now that I know what they know, now that I'm spreading this information, I'm a target too. What makes this even more disturbing is a pattern of researchers who've died under mysterious circumstances. In 2011, a marine biologist named Dr. Sarah Chun was working on deep ocean mapping near these exact coordinates. She published a paper about unusual formations, geometric patterns that defied natural explanation. 3 months later, she died in what authorities called a diving accident. But her colleagues told me something different. They said she was an expert diver with 20 years of experience. They said her equipment was sabotaged. They said her research notes disappeared from her laboratory the same night she died. This isn't an isolated incident. Between 2008 and 2019, 7 researchers who studied this region either died unexpectedly or vanished completely. 7 people who asked too many questions. 7 people who got too close to the truth. The statistical probability of that happening by chance? Less than 0.001%. Someone is eliminating anyone who threatens to expose the secret, and that someone has unlimited resources, military access, and zero accountability. Let me be absolutely clear. What I've shown you today will get suppressed. YouTube will shadow ban this video. The algorithm will deprioritize it. Mainstream media won't cover it because they're part of the system. But you can change that if you share this video. If you tell others, if you spread this truth, then they can't suppress it anymore. They can't silence us if we're millions. So I need you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, like this video. The algorithm rewards engagement. If enough people like this, it breaks through the suppression. Number 2, comment what you think. Don't be silent. Let others know you've seen the truth. Share your thoughts. Ask questions. Demand answers. The comments section is where the real discussion happens. Number 3, subscribe and turn on notifications because my next video is going to be even more shocking. I'm meeting with another insider, someone inside the government, someone willing to leak documents, real documents, not theories, evidence. If you want to see the full proof, the classified images, the audio recordings, the documentary evidence, then you need to be subscribed because this video will be taken down, and I have to upload the full version to a backup channel. They're watching me right now. They know I uploaded this, but I don't care anymore. The truth is more important than my safety. The world needs to know that human history is not what we've been taught, that civilizations existed before what we know, that governments are hiding the most significant discovery in human history, that we have the power to expose what they're hiding. So share this, fight the suppression, be part of the awakening. History is happening right now, and you can either be part of it or you can ignore the truth and go back to sleep. The choice is yours.